All right. So, as of right now, May 10th, it's 11:18 a.m. I spent the whole night finishing the album. The album's officially done. I just woke up after a long night of mastering and um going over more mixes and stuff. So, I'm here to talk to you about the purpose behind the album. And I really wanted to do this video because I don't know, I wanted it to be just like more intimate and serious with you guys, like face to face from my webcam. And this album is really a testament to the psychological and emotional toll that sticking your neck out and really chasing something like being a musician or being an artist or being a creative comes with. Um, and prior to really embarking and really starting your journey, you don't necessarily know what territory that comes with. So I'm going to elaborate so you guys really understand what I'm talking about. So when I was, let's see, in the summer of, what year? In the summer of 2012, I think, I graduated middle school, and I always was such an avid music listener, and I always loved music so much. And that the summer before that, my godmother, who I love very much, got me a virtual DJ turntable and like the software because she saw someone using it on a plane. So she got it for me because she thought I would like it because she knows how much I love music. So she got me that when I was in the seventh grade. In the eighth grade, um, I hurt my ankle in a basketball tournament, and I was just home. I really couldn't do too much shit. So I was just home, and I kind of said to myself, I was like, well, I love hip hop so much. I love music so much, but specifically hip hop. But I love hip hop so much. Let me just embark on the historical journey of the genre. So I already loved specifically like a lot of 90s stuff, like Tribe Called Quest, Wu Tang, Gangstar, like certain stuff like that. So I kind of just told myself, hey, like, let me really learn this shit and really just dive deep into the eras of the genre, see where it started from, the origins, and then keep moving forward. So that summer, that's exactly what I did. I just really became a historian of hip hop. I was watching every interview, I was listening to every album, I was just torrenting full discographies of artists, just kind of expanding my knowledge because I'm from New York and from Queens specifically. So um, I was always super knowledgeable on hip hop. That was just what I fell in love with. I'm a hip hop. I didn't really care about rock music till middle school. I didn't really care about certain stuff till then. So I was listening to hip hop until that point in my life, till eighth grade, almost exclusively. So I just started doing a lot of research, and I went from decade to decade. I went from like the late '70s, like even with culture too. Like I always loved graffiti because my dad was into art, and he introduced me to um just an artistic outlook on things. Like he tried to get me to draw and paint as a kid, but that wasn't really for me. I just really liked color. Anyway, um, yeah, I just really became a historian of hip hop from that summer on. And then shortly after, I was like, hey, I love this shit so much. I love music. Why don't I try and produce? I had been writing poetry for, I think, since like the seventh or eighth grade, but I never told anybody just because like that was like, it was really personal. And I have like, I still do, but at the time I had friends that like, we were just into doing fuck shit. So that was kind of like weird to be like, yo, I do poetry. You want to hear my poet? Like, it was stupid to even present that to my friends. So I was just kind of keeping it on my own. You know what I'm saying? Like, just doing my own thing. And it became really personal to me. And after I really started learning so much about hip hop, like the history of it, I was like, you know what? I'm going to just try and produce because Primo and Pete Rock and Dilla, like, they use this MPC thing. So I'm going to try and do it. So I bought an MPC 500 that year. I think like right after the summer, like October is my birthday, October 5th. So I think like October and November, I bought an MPC 500. And I was like super adamant on exclusively using hardware because that's all that they would do. There was no computers. So that was just what I did. I did not want to use a computer to make my beats. So I bought an MPC 500 and I had no idea how to program the memory card and put my shit on it. So I just gave up on it. I was like, fuck, this shit is way too hard. I was like, this is a dub. I'm not into this. This is too much on my brain. I don't know how to do this. So I sold it. Boom. I'm not producing at all for that year until like these people liked like these rhymes I was doing at this party. And then they were like, hey, come to our studio. We have equipment. You can try and make a beat. I was like, all right, cool. So that until then, I hadn't touched it again. So that was probably like 6 months after the fact. So now I'm a freshman in high school. And a year goes by, and in this year, I'm just writing. I'm writing a bunch of poetry. I'm writing a bunch of songs. After the year, almost a full year cycle from like, let's say I got the MP in like the fall, then almost like the next fall or the end of the summer of the next year, I saw that Akai made the MPC Studio, and I was like, oh, okay, this is tight. Like this is computer implemented software, and it kind of doesn't have a DAW, but it has some kind of like a software I can use to where I can like utilize my computer now, which makes it easier for me to understand. So that was tight. So I bought that immediately. At the time, I had money because I was just selling a bunch of clothes as a kid. That was my hustle. So I had some bread and I copped it. It was only like $350 anyway, which is valid for what that thing did. So I was using it so much and just learning the software so much that I just had that thing talking I had it like talking, walking around by the end of the year, like 6 months. So that was really what introduced me to really becoming a producer and sound design and drums, like really good drum programming, stuff like that, like really mastering sampling. All that stuff was that was that MPC Studio. So afterward, I was getting very good with it. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to really jump out the window and get the step up. And then I bought the MPC Renaissance. So I was super into Akai just because of the history of hip hop and drum machines. I really love the MPC model. So I was trying to stick with that. Then afterward, I meet a very good friend of mine named Mari. So shout out to Mari. He introduced me to something that was going to change my life forever. He introduced me to Ableton. And through me getting into Ableton, it completely exploded my brain with interest and like fascination of how I can achieve the sound I've always wanted through this program. I didn't know how to do it with Akai because it wasn't a DAW. I couldn't really like design sounds in it the way I wanted to. I didn't really have the freedom I did that Ableton gave me. So I learn Ableton. I get into sound design. I start singing. I start producing for other people. I start mixing. And that's when I get to the point of where I am now. And the entire underlying foundation to these building blocks is love for music, is love for art. Not just music, but mainly, but for art, love for culture. You know what I mean? And these principles are tested these principles are tested throughout your journey of success. And you start, not everybody, but people like me, like hopefully like you watching, people like us start doing this because we really love what we do. And we love the expression of whether you're a painter, whether you're a MC, whether you're a producer, whether you're a singer, whatever. You love the feeling that this expression gives you, right? So that's the base principle of what gets you interested in embarking on this journey of becoming a creative. Now, along this journey, if you're serious enough and you get good enough, somebody's going to try and come along and assist you in monetizing your ability, which means somebody who might have connections or whatever bullshit they're going to feed you. Some people do, some people don't, a lot of them don't. But whatever bullshit somebody's going to feed you, they're going to try and facilitate your talent and your ability and make money off of it for you and for them. That's cool, no problem. But depending on what kind of a person this is and what kind of a person you are, your true colors can show, because at the end of the day, wow, that was bad. At the end of the day, you don't know this person. You understand? Hopefully you do. Hopefully you have someone in your life who you grew up with or who knows you very well through family or friends that is able to really assist you in becoming successful with your creativity. But 9 times out of 10, you don't know the person. They're seeing your work online or they're hearing about you through somebody and they want to work with you and help you grow your business. This is such a test to your willpower, not only as a creative, but as a man or a woman, that sometimes it ends up being the be all end all to the rest of your future in this creative field. Because through personal experience, friendships go to shit. Bad business dealings, they're discouraging for a lot of people. So like a myriad of factors that end up really changing and rerouting your course maybe in this creative field. The primary issue, hands down for people like me and you, like I said before, is this business, this bad business or whatever it is, this change of pace to your creativity is now presented with an obstacle. And it might be the first real obstacle that you get as a creative person. Do you understand? I'm going to elaborate so you really understand what I mean. So this might be the first obstacle that you face because all you're doing is making music. You're loving it. And now somebody's kind of throwing a monkey wrench in it and saying, hey, I can help you monetize this. All you have to do is do A, B, and C. Sometimes A, B, and C doesn't correlate with you. And then what are you going to do? Are you going to do A, B, and C? Or are you going to continue to do what you want to do and whatever happens, happens? I'm only talking about the business side of things. There's also a social side of really embarking on this and really dedicating your life to it that you completely get ostracized for because you're doing something that's not normal. So a lot of people around you are going to be progressing in their life. They're going to be going to school and shit. Not that that would matter to you, but subconsciously it absolutely can, and it's absolutely okay if it does. You see a lot of people progressing. I fucking hate doing this all the time. I'm sorry, but there's no other way for me to like really get the point across. So you see a lot of people like quote unquote progressing in their life, or when you're really stuck in that position and your back is against the wall and your mom's like, yo, you got to go to school and do this and you need some money in your pocket, so you got to find a hustle, but then you don't want to work this job. And then socially, you kind of become excluded from a lot of things because it's like, A, I'm just making music all day anyway, so I'm not going to pop out to whatever you're going to. B, I see past a lot of superficial bullshit that people I used to hang out with are doing. And now that I'm more emotionally present due to me making music, it kind of makes me hard to play their game more. So, you know, it's a tough end time. You know, you feel like you're running out of time all the time, especially me, like 21, 22. It's tough. It's like a lot of pressure on your shoulders, you know what I mean? Because you get the opportunity to really try and do this once. So, and I know I'm not the only person that thinks that way. I know that there's so many other kids out there who hopefully are watching this that relate to me. So, yeah, these are really important things that I don't even see people talk about this shit online really. And I feel like that's kind of doing the rest of the creative kids an injustice. And I think like now I can really give at least some kind of advice on it, because now I'm more on the outside looking in. I'm not fully outside the fucking box yet, because I definitely am not completely um emotionally resolved, or at least, to where I want to be. But I can now at least speak with a little bit of experience on my side and guide, hopefully, someone who's younger than me into not falling into the trap of mental fucking prison. If you don't know how to handle like opening the floodgate to your emotions, well, it's something that can absolutely be detrimental to not only your physical health, but more importantly, your mental health. Because speaking for me personally, I'm an only child, so I'm home. I'm not alone. I'm sorry, not just home alone a lot, but creating alone a lot, because I don't necessarily have to be around other people. I'm used to being alone. So creatively, that's a very interesting outlook, because you're just really left to think and put these emotions that you think all the time into this song and on the paper to write the verses and the hooks and sing and stuff. So that takes an immense toll on you. Like, it's just, I can't even put it into words. It really does. So I'm really making this album and documenting all of these experiences, these shitty friendships that go south, and these emotional roller coasters that I've given myself in the process of expression and making music, that I just hope that people hear it and relate to it in their own way. I don't expect people to relate exactly to me, but I'm sure that there is a kid somewhere who might relate identically to me, or there's someone who is hearing it and interpreting it in their own way. I'm not here to mislead your interpretation, or I'm not here to invalidate your interpretation by telling you what something means. I'm here to tell you that any interpretation you have, whether it have a good connotation or bad, is valid. If you hear this album and you relate to it in your way, go right ahead. I'm not here to tell you that you're not living in your truth. I'm not here to tell you that it's not valid to do that. I'm just here to tell you what went into making this album on my behalf. So now it's up in the air for interpretation. There's no right or wrong answer. So basically what the album is it really is like a mental health awareness, because I've been driven to so many points, not only obviously because of music, but because of music and because of a bad relationship with a spouse. And music just makes you face the problem. And I'm not really the partying type of person. I'm not really someone who's going to distract myself from my issue. I'm probably going to deal with it 9 times out of 10. So this album is just me basically dealing with said issues. And it's 10 songs. It's also a really, really good sonic representation of the neighborhood that I live in, because like I always wanted to do an album that when I hear it, it makes me think of certain parks or blocks or like images from my neighborhood that I just have ingrained like in my brain. So that was really an important goal of mine. So I definitely think I achieved that with this project. So I know that this was kind of a mouthful or whatever, but I say all of that to say this: you're not alone in whatever problem you're going through. And especially me being an only child, I really had to acclimate to that fact. Like I had to really learn that that's true. Like being alone a lot, you're just used to that being your reality. You don't know that, hey dude, maybe if I actually talk about this thing, it'll alleviate some stress and pressure off my fucking back, because this shit is hard to endure, you know what I mean? So that's really what this album is. This album is just 10 songs of me doing that. Of me just like alleviating my pressure, and like instead of talking to a friend about it, I'm talking to you, the listener. I'm talking to you, and I'm telling you what I'm going through. And the song I'm sorry. The song is basically just me alleviating my pressure and expressing myself and getting something on my screen and getting this weight off my shoulders, basically. So it's just 10 songs of that, just me documenting my life and expressing my experiences to you in hopes that you can relate to it too. And, that's really it. It's self-produced. I produced every song, and Daniel helped me on a bunch of stuff. He's so helpful. I love him so much. And Sadipa he helped make the U beat. He did the drums and the beginning half. So, it's cool shit. I'm really excited for you guys to hear this. And, yes. Oh, one more thing, the director's cut. So pretty much, if you guys heard whoever the fuck decided to listen to it, if you guys heard the director's cut, the last song is an explanation of why I did that, but I'll just elaborate it here. So hopefully, if you don't know about it, you can now go and listen to it. The director's cut is basically my rendition of a soundtrack for a film or a show. I didn't have the time really, or the equipment to shoot a movie the way I wanted to. Not the equipment doesn't really matter to me, but I just didn't really have the time to do it. And lately I've been an impatient person. I say I improved myself into becoming a doer. So like sometimes if it seems like too much of a task, I'll just try and find a middle ground with my goal and what the reality of the situation is. So this is the reality of the situation. I made a soundtrack, which is I think 15 or 16 songs. And if you want to make a movie, if you want to use it in your video, or I don't know, if you want to do a fucking like an episode or pitch something, you have complete freedom to use whatever you hear. All of it is royalty free. There's no samples. I'm like 99% sure that there's no samples. There might be like a little vocal chop somewhere, but who gives a fuck? Just use it. I always loved film scores and string sections and pretty stuff like that. So I tried to just compile my favorite soundscapes that I've made and kind of just put them into a body of work even if you don't use it in a film, if you just casually listen, that's pretty cool too. I think that's tight. I do stuff like that, so I'm sure there's more people that do. So that's what the director's cut is. To Today Is Just Tomorrow. I mean, even the name, it's basically the monotony of depression. Today is just tomorrow, it's like the same shit all the time. Like until you get out of said struggle and you start to, resolve your issues emotionally and mentally. So it's all there. I hope you guys hear it and I hope you guys enjoy it. I would love to hear your feedback. Just leave comments on any video I put out. You can even email me. I have my email in my about section of my YouTube page. So, I hope you guys hear it, enjoy it, really sit with it, and don't just listen to it one time. God, I mean, I know that's kind of hard to ask because I'm a fucking nobody, but if you just sit with the album and like put some headphones on and hear all the panning I did and hear like all the little weird nuances to the project, it'll just make you appreciate it a lot more. So with that being said, it's now 11:40. This is 22 minutes long. Thank you if you made it this far. Thank you so much for listening to me. And enjoy the music and everything else I have to offer in the future. I love you guys. Peace.